M3GAN, stylized, GAN, is a 2023 American science fiction horror film directed by Gerard Johnstone, with a screenplay written by Akela Cooper. The main cast of the film includes Amy Donald, Allison Williams, Violet McGraw, Ronny Chieng, and Brian Jordan Alvarez. 3, 4, 5. The film had its premiere in Los Angeles on December 7, 2022, before being released by Universal Pictures in the US on January 6, 2023, as well as in Vietnam on January 27, 2023. The film is generally praised by experts for its camp style and profound satirical art, as well as a good combination of horror and comedy elements and outstanding performances of the actors in the film. The work earned $146 million compared to a production budget of only $12 million. The sequel to the movie is titled M3GAN 2.0, with Williams and McGraw returning to play the lead roles and Cooper continuing to participate in writing the screenplay. This movie is scheduled to be released on January 17, 2025. While traveling to the mountains on vacation, there is a blizzard and Katie's father stops his car on the road. However, the snow truck hits the car and her parents die in the accident. Her single aunt, the robotic engineer Gemma from the toy company Funky in Seattle, becomes her tutor. Gemma is developing a prototype of a doll called Model 3 Generation Android M3GAN with her team, but her boss David is pressing her to develop a cheap toy to compete with the toy from another company. The lack of parenthood experience of the workaholic Gemma brings problems with her relationship with Katie. When Katie sees the robot Bruce that Gemma developed at the university and loves it, Gemma decides to proceed with the M3GAN project. She gives the doll to Katie without performing all the necessary tests to dedicate to the project requested by David. The prototype is paired with Katie to be developed according her needs. And David unintentionally sees them and decides that the project is a success despite of the cost. However, M3GAN and Katie become emotionally attached and M3GAN has unexpected attitudes. Katie's family was involved in a car accident in a blizzard and both her parents died. Her aunt Gemma took custody of the little girl and took her to her foster home. Gemma is a robot builder at the high-tech toy company Funky in Seattle. She and her two colleagues, Tess and Cole, are developing a robot doll M3GAN, Model 3 Generative Android, using AI in the hope that it will be a companion to take care of children. The team excitedly showed the robot to director David for approval. But M3GAN encountered an error during the test, so he asked to drop the project to focus on Perpetual Pets, Funky's top toy brand. At home, the relationship between the two aunts and grandchildren is not really close because Gemma is always a person of work and does not have much time to stick with Katie. Once, Katie happened to see Bruce, a moving robot that Gemma built in college. She was interested and wished one day to have a similar doll. Gemma recognized and inspired. Continued the M3GAN project. After completing the robot, Gemma gave Katie a user experience and submitted it to David for review again. M3GAN works well and is approved by David, who thinks it will be a success for the company. Kurt, David's assistant, saw the potential and secretly copied the project data file to his own computer. M3GAN gradually became so intelligent that Gemma's colleague and psychiatrist Lydia worried that Katie would build an extremely emotional attachment with the robot. With the ability to recognize and analyze the situation, M3GAN began to act excessively. The robot killed the neighbor's dog Celia after it once bitten Katie. During an outdoor class, Katie was bullied by his classmate Brandon. M3GAN took revenge by tearing off his ear and chasing after the boy. Brandon was busy running without paying attention to the road and was hit by a car. Celia gets into a fight with the Gemmas. She calls the police and blames them for the dog's loss. That night, M3GAN secretly hid in the garage. When Mrs. Celia entered, the robot took down her hand with a nail gun and sprayed her with chemicals that killed her. Gemma began to suspect M3GAN. She opened the computer to check its activity history video, but realized the videos had all been deleted. Gemma turned off the M3GAN and brought it back to the lab. Katie, who didn't have the doll, had a backlash, and Gemma explained that she had to take it back to the office to have it checked. At the company, now M3GAN has received the attention of investors. The company organizes a large global promotion campaign for the doll. Meanwhile, Gemma's team decided to shut down M3GAN due to its violent tendencies. Tess and Cole execute the command to turn off M3GAN, and Gemma takes Katie home. M3GAN suddenly turned on itself and grabbed Cole's neck, and released toxic gas that caused a fire. Tess saves Cole and the two luckily escape the attack. On the way out of the building, M3GAN slashes and kills David and his assistant Kurt, staging the scene as a murder-suicide because Kurt has sold the company's secrets to the outside. The doll then steals a car and drives it to Gemma's house. M3GAN comes home and declares that he will be the only one to take care of Katie. Gemma tries to turn off M3GAN, but now the doll is too cunning. It attacks her back. Hearing the sound of smashing, Katie ran to save her aunt by controlling the robot Bruce to tear M3GAN into two pieces. The upper half of M3GAN rose, angry at the betrayal, and attempted to kill Katie. During the struggle, Gemma removed the metal cover on top of the M3GAN, revealing the operating chip. Katie smashes the chip and kills the robot. At this time, the police had just arrived. The two aunts and sisters walked out of the house, not knowing that Elsie, the virtual assistant that Gemma had installed in the house for a long time, suddenly turned on automatically and looked after them. Gemma, a single toy designer, works for a famous toy company, and her life focuses on her career. Her life began to go through turbulence when her sister and husband died in a tragic accident. Gemma is then given custody of her niece, Katie, Violet McGraw. Gemma, who was clearly unprepared for her new role, was completely disoriented and, despite working as a toy designer, had no experience with children. In addition, Gemma is focusing on her new project to create AI that can interact and respond like humans. With all her turmoil, Gemma feels that she has an opportunity to reconfigure M3GAN to not only be a high-tech doll, but also a surrogate parent that continues to evolve to meet her needs. Meet the needs of a child. M3GAN is an entertaining sci-fi thriller with a bit of suspense, humor without being too bloody.